Somewhere in the last week, something happened, a message, a comment, a tone of voice, and a feeling fired, and you did something you take back. And the way you tell that story is, they made me angry. I couldn't help it. For very different books say that story contains a 1-inch error, and the whole skill of emotional control lives inside that inch. A management professor, a spiritual teacher, a stadium motivator, and a sweary blogger. Different decades, different audiences, different vocabularies. They converge on one map. When books that share nothing share conclusion, it's probably load-bearing. Stephen Covey draws the map's first line. Most people, he says, live as if stimulus leads straight to response. Poke them, they jump, and the jump is just who they are. His entire first habit rests on a different claim. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose. The event and your reaction are two separate objects, with a gap between them. And Covey's proof case is deliberately extreme. Viktor Frankl, psychiatrist, prisoner in the Nazi camps, who observed that everything can be taken from a man except one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. If the gap survived there, Covey argues, it survives your inbox. Objection. Knowing the gap exists doesn't mean you can find it at speed. When the anger is already hot, where exactly is this space? That's the second book's contribution. Eckhart Tolle's method is one move performed over and over. Watch the feeling instead of being it. Tolle's observation is strange until you try it. There's the anger, and there is something noticing the anger, and they're not the same thing. The moment you say inwardly, there's anger here, a split has occurred. The noticing part isn't angry, it's watching. And a watched emotion behaves differently. It stops being the whole sky and becomes weather in it. Practically, the move is naming. Not I am furious, which fuses you to it, but I notice anger rising. Say it exactly that flatly. It feels ridiculous, and it works because naming forces the watcher into existence. You cannot label a thing without standing slightly outside it. Now the trap that eats most people who try this, which is Mark Manson's contribution, the feedback loop from hell. You get anxious, then you get anxious about being anxious, then angry at yourself for being angry, then guilty about the guilt. The original feeling was one floor. The reaction to the reaction builds the tower. Manson's exit is not calming down. It's dropping the second layer entirely. Stop caring that you feel bad. Feeling anger, anxiety, envy is not a malfunction. It's a nervous system doing its job. The moment feeling bad stops being a problem, the tower has no second floor. You're left with one ordinary emotion, which is survivable, instead of an emotion about an emotion, which never ends. Which raises the last question. Once you've found the gap, watch the feeling and decline to punish yourself for having it. What is the feeling for? Tony Robbins supplies the missing piece. Emotions are action signals, not verdicts about reality, not orders, calls to do something specific. In Robbins' reading, frustration signals that your current approach isn't working. Change the approach. Anger signals a standard of yours has been violated. Communicate the standard or re-examine it. Fear signals something needs preparing. Prepare it. The emotion isn't the problem to eliminate. It's the notification to read. And a notification, once read, usually goes quiet. Put the four together and you get a procedure that runs in about 10 seconds. 1. Remember the gap exists. The event just happened. Your response hasn't. 2. Name what's here. There is anger, there is panic, and become the watcher. 3. Skip the second layer. You're allowed to feel this. No guilt about the guilt. 4. Read the signal. What is this feeling asking me to change, communicate, or prepare? And then, only then, choose the response. Sometimes the right response is still the sharp email, chosen coldly. Fine. Emotional control was never about becoming placid. It's about the difference between a reaction that happens to you and a response you signed off on. Same words, different author. The training plan is unglamorous. You practice on small stimuli because the big ones don't offer practice time. The slow lift, the interrupting colleague, the traffic. Each one is a rep. Gap, name allow read. Miss one, fine. The next stimulus is already on its way. Nobody runs out of reps. The self-test for whether this is landing. This week, catch one reaction after it happens and reconstruct it. What was the stimulus? When did the response start? And was there any daylight between them? At first, the honest answer is none that I saw. Then a flicker. The flicker widens. That widening is the entire skill. For books, 1 inch of space. Everything you've ever regretted saying happened because the inch got skipped, and the inch cannot be skipped when someone is standing in it, watching, reading the signal. They can still ring the bell. What happens next stopped being automatic the day you learn where the gap is.